In early December 1872, a ship with no crew was discovered sailing the Atlantic Ocean. When investigators boarded the vessel, they discovered a ship in perfect condition, with 6 months of food and all the crew's belongings undisturbed. But the crew were nowhere to be found. None of the missing crew were ever seen again. Rumours of sea monsters, curses and ghosts would abound, but no one has ever solved the mystery of how an entire ship's crew disappeared without trace in the middle of the ocean. Join us as we discuss the disturbing mystery of the Mary Celeste. Strange events have followed the Mary Celeste ever since its maiden voyage in 1861, leading to the rumours of the ship being cursed or haunted. On its maiden voyage, at the time of which it was named the Amazon, it set sail for London, England via Nova Scotia. Shortly after setting sail, the ship's captain, Robert McClellan, caught pneumonia and died shortly before the journey was completed. John Nutting Parker would take over the role of captain, and when the ship reached the English Channel, it collided with fishing equipment before crashing into another ship, causing the other ship to completely sink. 6 years later, in 1867, now under the captaincy of William Thompson, the ship would encounter yet more misfortune, as a storm would wreck the ship off the coast of Cape Breton Island, forcing the crew to abandon the vessel. A year later, the ship would be sold and renamed the Mary Celeste. It would be rebuilt and finally sold to a group that included Captain Benjamin Spooner Briggs. The next time the Mary Celeste set sail, on November the 7th, 1872, it would be under the captaincy of Benjamin Spooner Briggs. He and his crew would never be seen again. It was around midday on the 5th of December 1872 when the crew aboard the British ship De Gracia spotted a ship following an unsteady course about 6 miles in the distance. They were about 400 miles east of Azores, Portugal. As he observed the ship, they noticed that although its sails were up, they appeared to be lopsided and torn. They signalled to the ship, but received no response. Sensing something was wrong, Captain David Morehouse ordered that they changed course to offer help to the seemingly troubled ship, and as they drew nearer, Captain Morehouse recognised the ship as the Mary Celeste. When they drew close enough to board the Mary Celeste, they saw why they had received no response to their previous signalling. There was nobody on deck. Morehouse sent a boarding party to investigate, and what they found would only deepen the mystery. As soon as they boarded the ship, it was clear that somewhere out in the Atlantic, something went very wrong. But according to the last log entry, dated 9 days earlier, in the morning of the 25th of November, everything was normal. The ship was recorded as being 400 nautical miles away from where the De Gracia came across it, which meant that the Mary Celeste had somehow sailed 400 nautical miles without its crew, bringing eerie parallels with the Flying Dutchman, another ghost ship that, according to legend, was cursed to sail the seven seas for eternity. It's believed that seeing the Flying Dutchman while at sea is an omen of doom for all of those aboard this ship. Adding to the mystery was that, with the exception of the slightly tattered sails, the ship was in good condition. Of the 3 hatches, the main hatch cover was secure, whilst the fore and lazette hatches were left open. The only sign of disturbance was that the ship's compass was moved slightly from its place, with its glass broken, and over a metre of water in the hold. But this amount of water would not prevent a ship the size of the Mary Celeste from sailing, and the vastly experienced Briggs, who had captained the Mary Celeste, would have certainly known this. Additionally, he had his wife and 2-year-old daughter with him on the voyage, so it's incredibly unlikely he would have taken the rash and dangerous decision to abandon ship without an exceptionally good reason to do so. The belief that the crew abandoned ship is supported by the absence of the ship's only lifeboats. The ship's papers and instruments were also gone, and the lifeboat appeared to have been tied to the ship for a period of time before being cut free. But this only adds to the mystery. The ship's cargo of alcohol was intact, the cabins were all in an orderly fashion, and the crew's belongings undisturbed. There was over 6 months' worth of food and water on the ship, and there was absolutely no sign of violence or fire. Once they had left the ship, the Mary Celeste would sail on for 400 nautical miles without a crew, yet with no critical damage or signs of deterioration. It was as if unseen hands were sailing and maintaining the ship as it sailed the 7 seas. A number of theories have been put forward over the years, ranging from alien abduction, sea monsters, underwater earthquakes, and other natural phenomena. Some have put the disappearance down to a mutiny or pirate attack, but the lack of any signs of violence disputes this. Besides, if pirates were responsible, they wouldn't have left the crew's belongings and the ship's cargo untouched. And if it was a mutiny, the mutineers would have sunk the ship and boarded another under the premise of being survivors of an unfortunate shipwreck. Other theories focus on the alcohol cargo. Alcohol gives off dangerous and flammable fumes, and it's been suggested that the pressure from the alcohol's fumes caused 2 of the hatches to blow open, and Briggs, concerned that the ship was about to explode, ordered the crew onto the only lifeboat. Although this doesn't explain why Briggs cut their only literal lifeline to the ship without being certain that the Mary Celeste would sink. It seems to be a very unlikely and reckless decision for a captain of Briggs's experience to make, particularly when he was accompanied by his family on that same lifeboat. The decision and subsequent action to abandon ship would have been quick and sudden, as evidenced by the fact that there were no log entries detailing whatever caused them to jump into the lifeboats. Whatever happened on that fateful day must have been something so terrifying that it convinced Briggs and his 10-man crew that it was safer to cut themselves adrift and leave all their food, water and belongings behind, rather than face whatever was aboard the Mary Celeste. And despite nearly 130 years of research, no one has solved one of the most famous and fascinating maritime mysteries of all time. It seems likely that the mystery of the Mary Celeste will remain unexplained. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to like, share and subscribe. It makes such a difference to small channels like these. We upload at least twice a week, so that way you won't miss any future episodes. And if you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening.